2005, that was really that turning point for us. I explained to Dwyane, it's going to come a time you're going to see that your body is not going to respond the way that you want it to because of the deficiency of vegetables that you're not willing to consume. When Dwyane got hurt, he came to me and he said, "Chef, I think I may want to try a salad here or there." My name is Richard Ingraham. I am the CEO of Chef RLI, and I have been the personal chef for Dwyane Wade and Gabrielle Union for the past 17 years. I would describe Dwyane's taste as he loves comfort food. The things that Dwyane was eating when I first started, he would eat Little Debbie's snack cakes, the oatmeal cream pies. One of his favorite dishes was fettuccine alfredo with fried chicken on top. He could eat whatever he wanted basically because he was losing about 5 pounds or so during each game. He would just run up and down the court, so he would burn this stuff off. My main thing with him was, if you want to eat some of this stuff, let me know and I'll make it myself. So instead of eating the processed oatmeal cream pies, I would make the oatmeal cookies myself. I would make the cream myself. Alfredo sauce, never out of the jar. I found that a lot of NBA players, including Dwyane, their mentality at the time was, listen, I was eating, fried chicken, hot dogs, brownies, cakes. I grew up on all of this stuff. This is the diet that got me these contracts and got me to where I am. They weren't really understanding that because of their great genes and the fact that they were young, youthful, that was what was really carrying them. There's so much more required from your body in being an athlete. A lot of running, a lot of sweating, just the stamina that it takes in order to perform at such a high level. The body loses so many nutrients throughout that process, and it's up to the personal chef to put all of those nutrients back inside of the body. When I first started working with Dwyane, he absolutely hated vegetables. Anything green, no parts of it whatsoever, nothing. The ball club would give him powders and vitamins and things like that would replace the natural vitamins that you would get from raw vegetables. Supplements are great if you're on the road or if you just can't sit down and eat certain things and you say, you know what, I know I need a little bit of vitamin A or vitamin D or vitamin C, but it's nothing like getting vitamin C from a fresh orange. I had to kind of explain to Dwyane that, listen, as you get older, unfortunately, there will be times that you get injured. And because you don't have the necessary vitamins that come from raw vegetables, your body's not going to heal as quickly as you want it to. Not only does it affect your body, but it affects your psyche as well. It takes a whole lot longer for you to get your head back into the game because you're so worried about your body. Whereas if you're taking care of your body, as they say, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. Whatever you put inside of your body, that's the fuel. That's all that you have. So you have to make sure that you put the best products inside of your body so that you can get the best output on the court. 2005, that was really that turning point for us. When Dwyane got hurt, the next thing you know, Dwyane came to me and he said, "Chef, I think I may want to try a salad here or there." Instead of me saying, I told you so, I was excited about it. In order for me to keep him performing, I had to go and look on the computer. I had to read. I had to ask other chefs who work for other athletes who I really admired. What was it that they were doing? What should I do to cut down on inflammation? What should I do to, help with migraines? With the migraines, we basically tried to keep his body hydrated. We drank a lot more water. We took every type of other drink out of his diet. We took all sugars out of his diet. We added in some nice teas with turmeric and some ginger and kept his stress level as low as possible. That's where I came in, just to provide a very holistic environment for him so that his migraines wouldn't kick in. I started learning all of this information and I started implementing them slowly into his diet. And one thing that I would always do is communicate with Dwyane what it was I was doing. I wanted to have him included. Dwyane, being the leader that he was, he would take some of that information into the locker room and tell some of the other players exactly what he was doing, because he wanted everybody to kind of be on the same page, not just mentally, but as far as their bodies were concerned as well. When I first started with Dwyane, I wanted to get all of the information and I wanted to do it all myself. But then I had to understand that there are different people that help to make one team, and the purpose of that team is to make sure that the athlete performs at the highest level. At some point, I had to come to grips with myself and say, listen, you have to take your ego out of the equation and understand that it's not about you. What you do is just one portion of what it takes for Dwyane to be the best that he could possibly be. So instead of it just being me out on the island, now I was actually getting on the phone and calling people like Tim Grover, David Alexander, the team trainers, to make sure that I was doing exactly what I needed, that my particular part fit into the puzzle just right. And if I needed to make certain adjustments, I was able to do that. I remember one game, it was the fourth quarter, Dwyane's running down the court, he's been playing pretty well the whole night, and the next thing you know, he goes out because he has cramps in his legs. So I'm wondering, what is it? What didn't I do? That was the first thing that I always thought about. There were times where David Alexander, one of his trainers, would give me a call and say, hey, listen, Chef, we need D to be as strong as possible. So what we want to do now is to up his protein intake, because we want to put on just a little bit more muscle so that he can withstand not only the bumps that he takes when driving to the hole, but also, if you ever watch Dwyane's game, he's on the ground maybe 80% of the time, because he's falling down from taking these fadeaway jump shots and maybe getting bumped on the way down. So he needs to be able to have that muscle so that when he hits the ground, he's strong enough to be able to withstand all the rigorous bumps and bruises that he would get. So now what I would do is go out and get more lean fish, maybe sea bass. We would do some nice shrimp. I would do maybe a little grouper, some snapper. Then on the meat side, maybe pork tenderloin, turkey tenderloin. All of these things that were very, very flavorful meat parts, but they were very lean as well. Later on in Dwyane's career, he suffered a couple of different injuries, a shoulder injury, then of course his knee. I would go in and I would talk to the trainers, I would talk to certain nutritionists and find out what foods should I take out of his diet. And a lot of our pasta dishes that we would do for pregame, I would take out dairy, cheeses, heavy creams, butter, implement more legumes, more beans, so that it would help him with his inflammation problem. I definitely feel that you can always continue to learn. I look and I watch and I study every single thing about what people do, what people cook. And just because you're a chef, that doesn't mean that you can't learn something from a home cook. From my mother, I watch my wife cook certain things and I may ask, listen, how did you get that to do that? Even when I go out to eat, I'm continuously trying to learn different methods. People want to shine, but they don't want the grind. And every single day is a grind. And that grind means to continue to educate yourself. We've never monitored calories. Through my communication, I knew how he was feeling, so I would make necessary adjustments there. I would look at his body, I would look at his obliques, look at him as a whole to see if I needed to taper off on this, maybe check his portion sizes with this. And then he would come to me sometimes and give me suggestions on, maybe we need to try to do a cleanse. Or we would do special smoothies with kale, cucumber, lemon, things to kind of flush his system out, speed his metabolism up so he can start burning a little bit faster. My philosophy is to continuously throughout the season, throughout the off season, kind of keep the same regimen, to eat clean, to eat flavorful, and then periodically we would have a day where we may have short ribs, so we may have a hamburger with fries. But once again, whatever it was that we were indulging in, we made sure that it was made from the freshest products. During the off season, I kind of looked at it like a workout. Whereas you're working out throughout the season, and then you take time off and you don't work out. The hardest thing is to start again. That's the hardest thing to ever do. Your muscles are sore, so you may take a day off to get your muscles back, and you have to go through such a process to start that all over again. So we really didn't overindulge. We didn't overindulge in our sweets. We didn't overindulge in rice, pastas. Once the season started, then we started to implement a little bit more carbs into his diet because now he's training, especially during the preseason. He needed that energy boost, but we didn't just add any type of carbs in. We wanted to make sure that we implemented carbohydrates that would sustain his energy level in the morning, a breakfast sandwich, or we may do some oatmeal, which is a great carbohydrate that sustains that energy level throughout the day. And then for lunch, we may do a nice orzo pasta with some turkey and spinach meatballs or something like that. He may have like a nice peanut butter and jelly sandwich with some green grapes that I would send him off with. And then for dinner, he would come home. We may have like a veal chop with some farro and broccoli stir fry. When he, Chris Bosh, and LeBron James got together during the time of the Big Three, those were some very, very long seasons. They played a whole season. They played through the playoffs, then the finals, then the championship series. His body got really, really beat up, very, very tired, very exhausting. So I had to make sure that each and every meal meant something. I think Dwyane has changed in a way to just be a little bit more open with trying different things. And I think the reason for that is because of trust. That comes with time. For the past 17 years, I've become part of the family. When he's away, I've taken on the role of being the protector of his family. I stay a little bit later at night to make sure everybody's safe. They have food there in case they want to come down and snack. They don't have to order food out. It alleviates the pressure from him wondering if his family is safe while he's on the road. The only thing that he has to concentrate on is his job, which is making sure that ball goes into that hoop. Dwyane, as you know, he switched teams a couple of times. We got the call that we needed to go to Chicago. So my wife and my children and I, we packed everything up and we moved off to Chicago. And then we went from Chicago to Cleveland. And then the next thing you know, we were boom, right back in Miami once again. And then here we are now in LA. It was all about finding the grocery stores, some farms, in order to make sure that we kept the quality of service, the quality of food the same. Because that's the reason that, I was asked to come along. He wanted to keep the same way of life that he had in Miami. When the talk of retirement came, you didn't really want it to happen. You loved being a part of what he was doing out there on the court. You loved to see him dunk that ball or to make this amazing play. As the Lord would have it and as Dwyane's needs would have it, he wanted to continue to keep me on because he wanted to still be as fit as he wanted to be. Our diet isn't as strenuous as it was when he was playing, but I still try to keep it as clean as possible. He still needs the energy to be a winner on camera, in these interviews and doing the things that he's doing. We still have that same philosophy of if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.